When people hear the words Shiva Sutra, they often imagine something distant, ancient, esoteric, maybe mystical in a way that has nothing to do with their everyday life. Something meant for monks, renunciates, or scholars who enjoy arguing over footnotes. But let me tell you something up front. The Shiva Sutra is not interested in impressing you. It is interested in exposing you. Not in a threatening way, in a deeply intimate way. The Shiva Sutra is a mirror, a sharp one, and if you look carefully, it does not show you God sitting somewhere in the sky. It shows you how you became small, and more importantly, how you can stop pretending that you are. This text emerges from the heart of Kashmir Shaivism, one of the boldest spiritual traditions the world has ever produced, a tradition that refused to choose between spirituality and life, a tradition that said without apology, this world is not a mistake. Consciousness is not trapped here. It is playing. The Shiva Sutra was revealed to Vasugupta, but it was Abhinavagupta who gave it breath, flesh, and a nervous system. Without Abhinavagupta, the sutras would still be powerful but fragmented. With him, they become a living psychology of awakening. And psychology is the right word here, not modern clinical psychology, but something deeper, a psychology of identity formation, attention, perception, desire, fear, and freedom. Let us begin with the most unsettling idea the Shiva Sutra presents. It does not say you are bound because you are ignorant. It does not say you are suffering because you are sinful. It does not say you must purify yourself to become worthy. Instead, it says something far more uncomfortable. You are bound because you chose to contract. Not consciously, of course, not morally, but cosmically, existentially. According to the Shiva Sutra, consciousness is infinite, free, luminous, creative. It is called Shiva. But Shiva is not a person sitting on Mount Kailash. Shiva is awareness itself, the power to know, the power to appear as something. And here comes the twist. That same infinite awareness has the capacity to limit itself, to forget itself, to pretend to be small, located, separate. This act of self-limitation is not a fall. It is not a tragedy. It is called Leela, play. The universe is not created because something was missing. The universe is created because consciousness wanted to experience itself from inside the mask. This changes everything. In most spiritual systems, the world is the problem, desire is the enemy, the body is suspicious, thought is noise, emotion is disturbance. The Shiva Sutra looks at all this and says very calmly, you have misunderstood the situation. Thought is not the enemy, desire is not the enemy, the body is not the enemy. Misrecognition is the issue. You think you are a fragment. You think you are inadequate. You think peace will arrive later, after correction. The Shiva Sutra would say, this is consciousness mistaking a temporary vibration for its essence. Abhinavagupta was centuries ahead of modern psychology here. He understood that attention creates reality. Whatever awareness repeatedly collapses into becomes the center of identity. That is why the sutras are short. They are not explanations, they are interruptions. They do not want to give you answers, they want to disturb the questioner. The Shiva Sutra is divided into 3 sections, not as a hierarchy of superiority, but as 3 entry points into recognition. The first section speaks from the highest standpoint. It says simply, consciousness is the self. No method, no practice, no ladder. This is deeply offensive to effort-based spirituality. Because here, liberation does not happen because you did something right. It happens because you see. But Abhinavagupta is very careful. He does not romanticize this. He says this path is not for the lazy, nor for the arrogant. It is for minds that are already ripe, already tired of pretending.
The second section works with thought, with mantra, with insight. This is where the Shiva Sutra becomes intensely practical. It says, do not kill thought, refine your relationship with it. A thought is not a problem. Identification with the thought is. This is revolutionary. Modern mindfulness often tries to create distance. Shiva Sutra creates intimacy without confusion. You watch a thought arise, and instead of pushing it away, you ask, who is aware of this? Not intellectually, experientially. The third section deals with body, breath, senses, effort. It acknowledges something very honest. Most humans do not awaken through sudden flashes of recognition. They awaken through embodied repatterning. Here, everyday life becomes the laboratory. Walking, breathing, listening, touching, speaking, nothing is excluded. This is where the Shiva Sutra parts ways with many other non-dual philosophies. Advaita Vedanta says the world is ultimately illusory, useful perhaps, but not real. The Shiva Sutra says the world is real as Shiva. Zen Buddhism emphasizes direct seeing, but often strips the world of meaning. The Shiva Sutra says meaning is not the problem, unconscious meaning-making is. Dzogchen comes very close, especially in recognition-based awareness. But even there, the expressive, aesthetic, sensuous celebration of life is less explicit. Kashmir Shaivism does not just tolerate life, it adores it. Art, music, poetry, sexuality, grief, creativity, all are expressions of the same pulsation of consciousness called Spandan. And Abhinavagupta himself was a master of aesthetics. For him, enlightenment did not dull perception, it sharpened it. And this brings us to the depth of the Shiva Sutra. Its depth is not in how much it explains, its depth is in how much it reveals without saying. Each sutra is like a seed. You don't read it once, you live with it. You let it collide with your habits, your fears, your ambitions. Over time, something shifts. You stop asking, how do I get liberated? You start asking, where exactly am I still pretending to be small? This is uncomfortable work because the Shiva Sutra does not allow spiritual bypassing. You cannot escape into transcendence while ignoring your relationships. You cannot talk about consciousness while abusing your nervous system. You cannot claim awareness while remaining mechanically reactive. Recognition must show up in how you listen, how you speak, how you disagree, how you desire. This is why Abhinavagupta insisted that liberation is not withdrawal, it is expanded participation. The liberated person is not absent from life, they are fully present without being trapped. So what does the Shiva Sutra ultimately teach you? It teaches that freedom is not a future event, it is a present recognition. It teaches that the mind is not to be silenced but understood, that the ego is not to be destroyed but contextualized, that the world is not to be escaped but recognized as sacred. And perhaps its most radical message is this: you do not need to become someone else. You need to stop misidentifying who you already are. This is not comforting spirituality. This is honest spirituality. It does not promise bliss all the time. It promises clarity. And clarity, once tasted, is irreversible. That is why the Shiva Sutra has survived centuries, not as a belief system, but as a living transmission, a quiet voice that keeps asking again and again, if awareness is present right now, who exactly is bound? And if you sit with that question long enough, not to answer it, but to feel it, you may discover that what you were seeking has never been absent, only unnoticed.